She showed up at the cafe, unannounced, her voice already raised before she even reached the table. "So, this is her," Sarah said, eyes locked on Kate. "You didn't waste any time, did you?" Every head in the room turned. The soft hum of espresso machines and clinking cups suddenly died into a heavy silence. I felt heat rise in my chest, not embarrassment, but cold recognition. This was the moment everything finally snapped. "You need to leave," I said, voice steadier than I felt. Sarah laughed, sharp and brittle. "Wow, 3 years, and that's all I get." Kate's hand tightened around her coffee cup, but she stayed quiet. The contrast between them was painfully clear. "I meant it," I added, meeting Sarah's eyes. "Leave." For a split second, I saw it, panic flickering beneath the anger. Then it hardened again. "You'll regret this," she said quietly before turning away. But I already knew I wouldn't. 3 weeks earlier, none of this had existed. It was a quiet Thursday evening in her kitchen. The overhead light cast a warm yellow glow across the counter. She stood with her arms loosely crossed, the scent of her lavender shampoo still familiar. "I think we'd be better as friends," she said gently, almost carefully. I remember the exact sound of the glass I was holding being set down, a soft clink that felt louder than it should have been. I looked at her. 3 years. Shared grocery lists, inside jokes, future plans that had once felt certain. And now this. "Okay," I said. She blinked, clearly surprised. "That's it, if that's what you want." Her shoulders dropped slightly. "I just need time to work on myself. I feel like I've lost who I am in this relationship." I nodded, though something inside me twisted. Not because I wanted to fight her, but because I could already feel the shape of what she was really asking for. Not space. Control. "I really hope this doesn't ruin things," she added as I grabbed my jacket. "I still care about you." I paused at the door, hand on the knob. "We'll be fine." It wasn't the promise she thought it was. The drive home was quiet rain streaking the windshield. I didn't turn on music, didn't call anyone, just let the wipers beat steadily while something inside me, something I hadn't noticed was heavy, began to lift. When I got back to my apartment, it felt different. Not empty, mine. The first few days after the breakup felt strangely light. I kept waiting for the crash, the sleepless nights, the sudden ache in my chest, the urge to text her and beg for another chance. But it never came. Instead, there was only quiet. I woke up earlier than usual that Saturday, made coffee the way I liked it, strong black, no rush, and stood by the window watching the city wake up. No checking my phone every 2 minutes. No mentally preparing for her mood. Just the steam rising and the sound of traffic below. For the first time in months, I wasn't bracing. By Monday, I went back to the gym at 6 a.m. The weights felt heavier than I remembered, but my body responded with surprising energy. With every rep, I felt pieces of myself returning the version of me that had slowly dimmed to keep the peace. I wasn't trying to become someone new. I was simply stopping the slow erosion. Sarah texted on Tuesday. "Hope you're doing okay." I stared at the message for a long moment. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Part of me, the old habit, wanted to reply gently, to reassure her to keep the bridge intact. But another part, quieter yet firmer, knew that every polite response would only feed her expectation that I would stay exactly where she left me. I typed back, "Doing fine. Hope you are too." Short, neutral, final. She replied a few hours later with more casual check-ins. "Thinking about you. We're still good, right?" I answered the bare minimum. Each time it got harder to pretend this was just friendly concern. It wasn't. It was testing, probing, making sure I hadn't really moved. By the end of the first week, the truth hit me while I sat on my balcony with a cold beer watching the sky turn deep indigo. I hadn't been truly happy for a long time. Not miserable, just muted. constantly measuring my words, softening my opinions, shrinking my enthusiasm so she wouldn't sigh or correct me in front of others. I had called it compromise. It was actually disappearing. That night I packed her things into a box, her spare clothes, the jacket I bought, her few small items she left behind. No anger, no dramatic music, just quiet, deliberate movements. When I taped the box shut, something inside me clicked into place. I wasn't giving her space anymore. I was taking my own. Sarah's messages grew more frequent, then more raw. At first, they were soft. I saw your post. You look happy. Then sharper, I'm still struggling every day, and you don't even seem to care. By the second week, they arrived at night. How can you be okay already? We were together for 3 years. I read them all. Some nights, I sat in the dark, with my phone glowing in my hand, thumb hovering over the reply box. The old Ryan wanted to answer, to explain, to comfort, to prove I wasn't cruel. One night at 2 a.m., I even typed a long message. I cared. I still do, but staying stuck isn't helping either of us. I stared at it for a full minute before deleting every word. I wasn't being cold. I was protecting the space I had finally claimed. The call started next. I let most go to voicemail. One evening after the gym, I finally picked up. Ryan. Her voice cracked. Are you seriously just... Fine. I sat on the edge of my bed, a clean shirt still in my hands. I'm okay, I said quietly. That's insane to me, she replied, the edge sharpening. I'm barely sleeping, I cry every night, and you're out there posting pictures like nothing happened. I closed my eyes. For a second, guilt twisted in my stomach, the same guilt that used to make me stay longer than I should have. But I remembered the last months of our relationship, the sighs, the corrections, the way I had slowly stopped sharing pieces of myself because they were never received well. I'm not trying to hurt you, I said. I'm just not putting my life on hold. She let out a shaky breath. I thought you'd wait. There it was, the honest part. I didn't know I was supposed to, I answered. The call ended without resolution. After I hung up, I sat there longer than I needed to, feeling the weight of 3 years settle and then slowly lift again. To clear my head, I booked a small cabin in the mountains for 2 nights. Nothing dramatic, just trees, silence, and a fireplace. I hiked at sunrise, stood on a ridge watching mist burn off the valley, and for the first time in years felt completely present in my own body. I posted one photo of my boots at the edge of the overlook. No caption. Sarah saw it immediately. Must be nice, she texted. I didn't reply. When I returned to the city, work noticed the difference. My boss even pulled me aside. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You seem sharper. That Friday I went to a work happy hour I would have skipped before. That was where I met Kate. She was sitting at the end of the long table, laughing easily, at something a coworker said. We started talking because she noticed the book in my bag. The conversation flowed books, bad endings, hiking trails, the quiet weirdness of adulthood. No tests, no hidden tension. She listened like she actually wanted to hear the answers. Later, when I finally checked my phone, there were 2 missed calls from Sarah and 1 message. So, this is what we are. Now, you just ignore me. Kate noticed my expression. Everything okay? I slipped the phone back into my pocket. Just something old trying to feel current. She nodded understanding without needing details. Those things usually do. Outside, under the awning while rain dripped steadily, she asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. Simple, no games. I smiled. Yeah, I would. Coffee with Kate turned into dinner 2 nights later. We chose a small Italian place, downtown. Rain streaked the windows, turning passing headlights into soft ribbons of gold. Kate sat across from me, one hand around her wine glass, listening as I told her about the cabin. She didn't interrupt, She didn't scan the room. She just asked questions because she genuinely wanted the answers. When I finished, she smiled softly. You sound lighter when you talk about being out there. The word landed in my chest and stayed. Lighter. That was exactly it. We took things slow, a walk through the farmer's market, a hike the following weekend, conversations that felt easy, not like a test I was constantly failing. With Kate, I didn't catch myself pausing after every sentence, waiting to see if I'd said something wrong. The old habit was still there, but it was fading. Sarah noticed the shift almost immediately. The texts changed tone. So you're already dating someone. Wow. I guess my time to work on myself was exactly what you needed. Does she know how emotionally avoidant you are? I stopped replying completely. Every answer only gave her more oxygen. Then came the calls, random, insistent. I let them ring. One Wednesday night, just after 9, there was a sharp knock at my door. I knew it was her before I opened it. Sarah stood in the hallway, wearing the black coat I'd bought her last birthday. Her eyes were red, but her chin was lifted ready for battle. We need to talk, she said. No, I replied. Her face tightened. Seriously, I stepped into the hallway and pulled the door, mostly closed behind me. Say what you need to say here. She folded her arms. You're really cutting me off like I meant nothing. You asked for space. I said evenly. I gave it to you. Then I took my own. Her voice cracked. I asked for time, not for you to replace me this fast. I felt tired, not angry, just deeply tired. I didn't replace you, Sarah. I stopped waiting. She stared at me, the anger slipping for a moment. Underneath it was something raw. Fear, real fear. You always do this, she whispered. You shut down and make me look crazy. I shook my head. I'm not shutting down. I'm done. She swallowed hard. For a second, I saw the woman I had loved, the one who had once made me laugh until my ribs hurt. Now she looked smaller, lost. You're really not coming back, she said. It wasn't a question. No, I answered quietly. I'm not. She turned and walked away without another word, but I knew it wasn't over. That Saturday morning, Kate and I were sitting at a small coffee shop near the river. Exposed brick walls, mismatched chairs, the comforting smell of espresso and cinnamon in the air. We had just ordered when the bell above the door chimed. I looked up. Sarah walked in. She spotted us immediately. Her steps quickened as she crossed the room, eyes moving from me to Kate and back again. The calm on her face was rehearsed, but her hands were clenched at her sides. So, this is her. Sarah said, voice loud enough for nearby tables to turn. The upgrade Kate placed her mug down carefully. I stood up before Sarah could get any closer. Sarah, I said, voice low but firm leave. She ignored me, turning to Kate. You should know what you're getting into. He shuts down when things get hard. Acts all calm, makes you feel like the crazy one, then walks away like he's the victim. The words hit the air like a slap. A few people nearby pretended not to listen, but the cafe had gone quiet. I stepped between them. Enough, I said. The word came out sharper than I intended, but steady. You do not get to harass her. Or me. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but the anger didn't leave. I thought you loved me. I did, I replied. But love doesn't give you permission to keep reaching after someone has let go. For a split second, her mask cracked. The woman I once knew, the one who laughed at my terrible jokes, who used to fall asleep on my shoulder, looked small and exhausted. You'll see, she whispered. She'll see too. Then she turned and left. The bell chimed softly behind her. Kate reached across the table and touched my hand. You okay? I looked at the door, then back at her. Yeah, I said. And for the first time I meant it completely. That night I sent one final message. Do not contact me or Kate again. This has gone far enough. I wish you healing, but we are done. I blocked her number, her social media, everything. The silence that followed felt clean. A week later, I ran into Sarah at the grocery store. It was a random Thursday afternoon. I was in the produce section picking out avocados when I saw her. She looked smaller. Hair pulled back, simply faint shadows under her eyes. The sharp confidence she once carried had faded. We both froze. Hey, she said quietly. Hey. We stood between the rows of vegetables, the normal hum of the store around us feeling strangely intimate. I heard you're doing well, she said. I am. She nodded slowly, eyes dropping to her basket before meeting mine again. I didn't think you'd actually stick to it. Stick to what letting go. Her voice was soft, almost tired. No accusation this time, just honesty. I thought you'd come back eventually. You always did. I looked at her, really looked, and felt nothing pull me back. I'm not angry, she added quickly. I just didn't expect to lose you. She swallowed. I've been going to therapy, trying to understand why I asked for space, but couldn't handle it when you actually took it. Why I needed you to stay waiting, even when I wasn't sure I wanted to come back. There was no defense in her words, just vulnerability raw and unguarded. I hope it helps, I said. And I meant it. She studied my face one last time, searching for something she could still reach, but there was nothing left. I'm sorry, she said finally, for the calls, showing up, all of it. I appreciate that. Another small pause. Take care of yourself, Ryan. You too, Sarah. She turned and walked down the aisle. I watched her go for a second, then picked up the avocados and continued shopping. No drama, no final argument. Just done. That night I told Kate about the grocery store while we sat on my balcony. City lights stretched below us like scattered stars. Rain had fallen earlier, leaving the streets glossy. She listened the way she always did, fully, without interruption. How do you feel? She asked when I finished. I thought about it. Peaceful. She smiled. That sounds right. And it was. I used to think love meant staying no matter what. Staying through the distance, the corrections, the slow shrinking of myself. Now I understand something simpler. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say, okay, and mean goodbye. You are not required to wait in the exact place someone left you. You are not cruel for healing faster than they expected, and you are not wrong for choosing yourself after someone treated you like a backup plan. Letting go doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be final, and for the first time in a long time, mine finally was.